Good morning. My name is Sydney Walker, and I'm currently serving as the State Vice President representing Area 3. Today, I sat down with Mr. Alex Walker, and we talked a little bit about his personal life, his personal experiences within FFA, and also all of his accomplishments he has accomplished through FFA, whether it was his SAEs, his National Proficiency Award, or his Star Former Award. So, Mr. Alex, would you like to give us a little bit of intel about yourself and who you are?
Sure. Well, you see, Miss Sydney, I'm Alex Walker. I was from the Quitman FFA chapter from Area 1. I've been in FFA for 5 years now, ever since my brother was in a state officer in 2011, 2012. That's pretty much what started my journey. Well, ever since then, it was my devout devotion to actually try and beat my brother. And ever since then, it put a spark under me. And I actually competed in forestry, Envirothon, which I went to nationals in. We competed in farm business, competed in just about everything you can compete in. And then my main thing is SAEs, which is what I'm going to nationals in this year for vegetable production. I'm the national finalist for one of them. And it's just, I work on a farm and just enjoy it all the time.
That's really interesting to see how FFA has helped you so much and throughout these years, and how you've competed in so many of these contests. You've been to nationals all these different times. So, like, watching your brother be a state officer and then competing in all these different contests, were you ever at a time where you were like, maybe I want to be a state officer or serve for Louisiana FFA, to share what my journey's been like through FFA?
Actually, my senior year, which was 2019-2020, yeah, 2019-2020, or 2018-2019, yeah, college class 2019, there we go. Well, I unfortunately did not get state office. I ran for it my junior year going into my senior year, and I unfortunately didn't get it. And I could have ran for area office again, which would have been my third year to run. But me being an area officer for 2 years for Area 1, I decided to let someone else have the opportunity that I had. And then it was one of those hard decisions to make because I loved it so much. And then eventually you got to give it up at some point. Yeah. And the night I was going to run my freshman year of college, but going from my freshman year of college, I'm a forestry major with a concentration in wildlife habitat management. So that means I have a lot more on my plate now, and I didn't need the added stress of being a state officer, especially because we didn't know we were going to live in a world where COVID hit.
Yeah, definitely. So since you were in FFA, can you tell us a little bit about how FFA has impacted your life as a whole?
FFA has impacted me in numerous ways. The first way is public speaking. I've competed in extemporaneous speaking for 4 years. That was my favorite speaking event that you could ever do because A, you didn't have to hardly memorize anything, and B, you just speak off the cuff. And then it's also helped me make numerous professional contacts. I fish for Louisiana Tech University. So not only do I have to maintain a professional stance on the water, but off the water as well. FFA, through official dress and everything else, has made me maintain my professional attire. It's also maintained my professional speaking skills to where I can actually approach sponsors and go, hey, my name's Alex Walker. This is what I can do for you. What can I help you with to grow your company? And actually, some of the FFA sponsors sponsor me as well for Louisiana Tech. So I've actually got to know them through FFA, and now I'm still getting to keep in contact with them through fishing. So FFA has helped me grow not only my personal life, but my professional life as well. I get to meet numerous people every day that are like, you were in FFA? That's so cool. And that just starts a whole new conversation. And I'm glad that I was actually be a part of one of the million people that are in FFA.
So for first-time members watching, can you tell us a little bit about an SAE and how our members can become a little bit more involved within their SAEs?
The biggest thing from newest members and first-time watchers for SAEs is actually figuring out which SAE fits best for you. My best fit was vegetable production and also beef production because I have beef cattle as well. And with me having those two, I can have those two, and then I can also have diversified, which is the combination of the two. So what I did to start off my freshman year was I picked which SAEs I wanted to do throughout high school. And my freshman year, I only did one. I did vegetable production. I placed second my freshman year. And then every year I chose to add one or a few. Like this past year, I submitted, I think it was 12 SAEs, and I got applied. I placed in 9 of the 13.
Wow.
Last year, my senior year, I submitted 12, and I placed in 11.
That is amazing. Oh my gosh. That is so amazing.
My favorite thing is actually whenever I get to go up on stage and receive my banners, it gives me a sense of accomplishment because A, I've worked so hard for it, and B, all the other members get to see, well, maybe I can do that too.
You have received your state degree with, you've won multiple proficiency awards, National Proficiency Award finalist, and you were also this year's state farmer. Can you share how you've stayed motivated and continue to stay motivated within FFA?
The way that I've stayed motivated was actually by my brother's last ag advisor. He said, winners win and losers lose, which it sounds horrible, but it's always stuck with me because if I'm not winning, I'm losing. But in a sense, you're not really losing because you're still winning because you've gained all the knowledge that you did throughout competing with that SAE, agri-science fair, whatever. I've competed in pretty much all of it. And not only that, but having a supportive family, like my mom, she was never got to join FFA. That was because her ag advisor, when she was in school, said women didn't need to join. That was the way it was. That's pretty much why she was so supportive of me. And then my dad was in FFA. My brother was in FFA. So I'm in an FFA family, and actually my grandfather owns all the land that I grow all my stuff on. So I've been in an agricultural family my entire life. And without my family support, I honestly don't think I could be where I'm at today. Because that day that I lost at state convention for being a state officer was disappointing because I worked so hard for that, and then it was just taken away from me. But what I learned about that is I didn't lose. I gained all the experience. I gained all the knowledge of actually speaking on stage. People still got to see me on stage because of my SAEs. And then with my brother's support, my mom, my dad, and my girlfriend, they never gave up on me. They were like, well, you can just try again or try for something better. And whenever I tried for something better, I got into Louisiana Tech University, now majoring in forestry with concentration in wildlife habitat management. And I'm now a college fisherman, which I was only a high school fisherman then. And without my supportive family and without my ag advisor mainly, like Mr. Cantrell has done numerous amount for me, whether that was actually like getting us a hotel room for state convention, going with me to every national convention just about that I've been to, except for this past year, but that was because I went by myself. But like without Mr. Cantrell, my family, and Mr. Stout, I couldn't be where I'm at today.
Okay, so you mentioned you are attending Louisiana Tech and then you're majoring in forestry, correct? Okay, can you tell us a little bit about your majors and minors in college and a little bit of how your SAE has helped you get to college and achieve all these different things?
Well, the first way is my ag advisor, or not my ag advisor, well, my ag advisor too, but my advisor for college is Mr. Joshua Adams. He's the one that presents the forestry scholarships most of the time at Louisiana State Convention. So I've known him personally my entire FFA career, and I've also done the Ruston Farmers Market with him as well. And I've known my advisor personally for 7 years. So that makes picking my classes for college a breeze because I go in there, I sit down at his desk versus like say I'm sitting at one of the other forestry advisors' desk and I don't know them as well. They can be a little intimidating at first because you're coming right out of high school where every class has ever been picked for you. And my SAEs are actually what got me a foot in the door to college because I was actually cool and comfortable with being interviewed. And then I was actually comfortable with doing paperwork as well. Well, with my advisor being Joshua Adams, I actually preferred him because I enjoy him as not only as an advisor, but a family friend.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes college easier for me because he actually sits down with me and tells me which classes that I should take and which ones I need to take. Like your freshman year, you got to take your general requirement classes, which is a given. But I also got to put my foot in the door and take GIS, which is not a freshman class. And it's geographical information surveys, which is like land surveying and stuff like that, which it was actually a pretty neat class to get to take as a freshman because I took both my GIS classes my freshman year. And my last GIS class was hard because everything got moved to online because of COVID. And with FFA and everything, I'm used to interviews and stuff. So a face-to-face interview on the computer wasn't nothing with Dr. Crosby because Dr. Crosby is the best GIS professor in my opinion because he spends the time to teach you. He's not one of those teachers that expects you to already know it. If you don't know it, he's going to sit down with you and go, this is what you need to do. This is what you're doing wrong. This is how you fix it. And that's why I love my South Campus teachers so much because Louisiana Tech's divided into two campuses, South Campus and Main Campus. South Campus is your ag education and all that. Mainly it's your agri-science building is what it is. And then Main Campus is all your general majors like psychology, criminal, and all that. Main Campus, I don't like it because it's big classrooms. Like for me, I come from a small school. We only had 1,000. Actually, we had 800 and something kids from pre-K through 12th grade. And now I'm in college where it's way more than that. And like my biology class I took my freshman year, I was sitting in a class with 160 other people versus me who come from a small high school where my biggest class was 30. And I'm sitting here going, oh Lord, what do I have to do now? Mm-hmm. And then you go to South Campus because that was my first class ever was a psychology class. It had 200 something people in there. We're in a big auditorium. And my second class ever at Tech was Intro to Forestry and Wildlife with Dr. Laura Lee Sims. I walked into her class. There's 30 desks. I was like, oh, this is going to be an easy class. Sit down. Some of my other friends I already knew were in that class from actually competing with them in forestry. And I got to sit down with them. I was like, hey, I know you from FFA and all that. And then that class was only 22 people. So the class size difference is huge because you're more comfortable with your major. Like, I don't know what you plan on majoring in college, but say you have to take a math class, even if your major's math, but you don't really say you would rather, like mine's forestry. I would rather have a forestry class with Dr. Adams or one of the other forestry professors than have to sit through that math class. Mm-hmm. Now, granted, I know that math class is very important, but I prefer my forestry classes over math or any other major pretty much because that's just what I'm so passionate about because my grandfather on my dad's side was the last Louisiana Forest Ranger. Whenever he retired, the Louisiana Rangers went away. My grandfather on my mom's side worked at the paper mill for 50-something years. So forestry is on both sides of me. And I've always wanted to be in the forestry field. And whenever I learned I could be a wildlife biologist, because I love wildlife as well, I love hunting and fishing and all that. My brother's actually the one that was like, why don't you consider being a wildlife biologist major or wildlife habitat management major? And I was like, that's a good idea, Nick. And ever since then, I've been hooked through not only from competing through FFA, has that helped me, but just everything in general has all combined thanks to FFA because I was already used to the atmosphere.
Yeah, definitely. So once again, this just proves all the connections you can get from FFA. And this is just, I'm so glad to hear that you were so passionate about your major and your future career because that is so amazing to hear. So as we close, what advice can you share with the FFA members and other watchers?
The best advice that I can give someone is never give up. Philippians 4:13 says you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. I believe that not only faithfully, but truthfully. That's actually wrote on the back of my truck in a decal, because every time I get in my truck, I look at that. That not only inspires me every day to do the best that I can be, but it reminds me of everyone that has done the hardship for me. And like Mr. Stout, after he passed away last year, that was one of the hardest funerals that me and my brother have ever attended, because your ag advisor is a friend for life. He might not have been my ag advisor, but he treated me like his own kid whenever my brother was in FFA. And I shared the passion of white perch fishing with him. Me and him would love to go white perch fishing, but it was just so hard on us. And that was just one of his favorite ones. So I've always remembered that. And that's the best advice I can ever give someone, is to never give up. Because you might go through some hardships at times, but the outcome's going to be even greater.